Your key turns in the lock. Before the door is fully open, she is already there, body low, completely still, eyes locked on you, not moving, not making a sound, just watching. Most owners call that a greeting. It is not a greeting, it is a threat assessment, and you are the one being assessed. That stare means she does not fully recognize you yet. Not because she forgot you, because something in her scent map of you has shifted. And until she processes that shift, you are not entirely familiar. You are close to familiar, but not quite. You have seen this before, after a long trip, after a vet visit, after anything that broke the daily rhythm you both lived inside. The moment feels strange, like something that should be warm, but carries a tension you cannot name. You set your bag down. She takes one careful step back. Not fear, not aggression, calculation. She is comparing what she senses right now. Your scent, your sound, the specific weight of your movement, against everything she built around your presence before you disappeared. Something in that comparison has not yet resolved. Later that night, she slips into the bedroom, goes straight to the suitcase on the floor, sniffs the handle slowly, deliberately, then raises her head and locks eyes with you again. No purr, no rub, that same silent gaze. This is not about the bag. It is about what that object signals. Disruption, absence, the breaking of every pattern she depended on to feel stable. And what that absence triggered inside her, starting the moment you left, is something most owners never come close to understanding. Pay attention to this. There is one specific signal, almost invisible, almost always missed, that reveals the exact moment she decides you are safe again. We will come back to it at the end of this video. But to understand that signal, you first need to know what her nervous system was doing the entire time you were gone. Because the recalibration did not start when you walked back through that door. It started the moment you left. Your cat does not experience time the way you do. She does not count days. She does not wait for a specific hour. What she tracks is pattern, routine, the presence of what keeps her world stable. Most owners assume their cats simply waited, calm, maybe a little bored, maybe aware something was different. What was actually happening inside her is far more precise. She was reorganizing her entire behavioral map around an absence she had no way to explain. Every room, every surface, every familiar object, still there. But the most important variable in her world had vanished, and her nervous system registered that as a continuous signal she could not switch off. She may have slept more, moved less, avoided certain spots that carry your scent most strongly. Not because she was distressed in any human sense, but because disrupted routines trigger a biological response. Stillness, conservation, heightened alertness. Her body adapting to an altered environment the only way it knows how. Have you ever come home and watched her go straight for your shoes before you even put them down? Moving directly to your jacket, your bag, the clothes you wore outside. That is not casual curiosity. That is information gathering. She is rebuilding her map of you. Where you went. What changed? What is different about your scent now? Cats navigate their world through scent the way we navigate ours through memory. When your scent shifts after days away, she needs to process every layer of that shift before she can fully accept you back into her space. The carrier in the corner, the suitcase at the bottom of the closet. Even weeks after a trip, those objects can stop her mid-step. One pause, one quiet shift in posture, before she decides whether to continue. That is associative memory, not a narrative, not complex reasoning. A direct, immediate link between an object and what that object has always signaled before. And this does not disappear the moment you return. It carries into the hours that follow, into how close she stays, how often she repositions, how long she watches before she finally settles. What comes next will change how you read every quiet moment she has spent near you since you came back. Most owners read what happens in the hours after a long absence as one of three things: clinginess, guilt, or punishment. The cold shoulder from a cat who knows exactly what she is doing. None of those are right. What you are actually watching is active threat monitoring, directed at the most important variable in her environment, you. Notice where she positions herself when she finally comes close. Does she face the door? Does she keep her body slightly angled? One side always toward an exit? Does she rest near you, but with just enough tension in her body to move the instant something shifts. These are not accidents. They are decisions. Cats manage unpredictability by monitoring it, by staying close to what became unreliable, by building evidence through their own senses before committing to stillness. You sit down on the couch. She jumps up beside you, but instead of settling immediately, she pauses, looks directly at you, adjusts her position once, then once more before finally lying down. That micro-adjustment is not restlessness. It is her choosing, with full awareness where she can be near you and still see everything else that moves. What looks like affection is also monitoring. Have you ever noticed both happening at exactly the same time? What feels like closeness also carries caution. And that is exactly how trust functions in a cat's world. Not as a feeling. As a conclusion, drawn from repeated evidence that the pattern is stable again. She is not being dramatic. She is not punishing you. She built her entire sense of safety around your presence. The specific weight of you in her space, your patterns, the way your routine gave shape to her world. Every time that weight disappears, she feels it. Every time it returns, she has to verify it through her own senses before she can release what she has been holding. You are load-bearing inside her nervous system. Most owners never understand the full weight of that until it shifts. Write stranger in the comments if your cat has ever looked at you exactly like this. That frozen measuring gaze the moment you came back from somewhere. Because what comes next is the signal most owners spend years looking right past. The moment her recalibration ends is visible. But it only lasts a second, and almost no one knows what to look for. Here is what that signal looks like, and why almost no one catches it. After hours of watching, repositioning, information gathering, there is a moment when she finally settles near you, without adjusting again. No more micro movements, no more quiet repositioning, just stillness. And in that stillness, when most owners have already stopped paying close attention, you will see one thing. A single, slow tail flick. Not anxious, not reactive. Not the fast, tight movement of a cat on edge. Just one quiet, deliberate release. A single motion after a long period of held tension. That is it. That is the moment the recalibration ends. That single flick is her nervous system releasing what it has been holding since you disappeared. Most owners spend years looking for something louder. A purr, a head rub, something that reads as affection in a register they can recognize. The real signal is smaller than that, quieter, and it only happens once. 2 things to change starting today. Before you leave, keep the exit calm. No sudden energy shifts. No drawn-out goodbyes that spike the emotional temperature of the room right before you disappear. A quiet, consistent departure gives her a stable pattern to hold on to while you are gone. Something her nervous system can organize around instead of registering as loss. When you return and see that frozen stare, do not reach out. Do not rush. Put your things down and stay calm. Let her close the distance herself. She will rebuild what became unfamiliar through scent and proximity. On her own timeline, give her the space to lead. You thought you were coming home. She was deciding whether you were safe enough to let back in. If your cat shows something specific after you have been away, a behavior you have never quite understood, write it in the comments. Every pattern shared here helps another owner recognize what their cat has been trying to say all along. Subscribe. Next video, we are going inside the sounds your cat makes when she believes no one is listening, and what they reveal about how she actually feels inside your home.